This will actually be take two of this entire video. So I did this video and I was watching the ALDS in the background, and then when I was uploading it, YouTube got me for copyright because I had the live game on in the back, I guess, and they said you can't show this to anyone. So I deleted it and we're trying again. Anyway, while it's not breaking news, you might have heard that the Hanshin Tigers of Japan's Central League won the Central League pennant. It is their first pennant in 18 years. I got this number magazine commemorating that moment. So here, right in the middle, is the manager, Akinobu Okada. I will be talking about him a little bit more, but I really like this cover because of the clever multilingual pun. Now, usually, if you see some English on sprinkled on Japanese stuff, or maybe other East Asian things, clothes or what have you, it's very often a little goofy. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. But this one is actually a really nice pun. So it says, Tigers are the best. And R actually has a double meaning here. If you said this R kind of like Japanese, if you were to spell the word out, the Japanese word out in letters in the alphabet, you might say are. Are means that, that thing, it, that. And what it means is are, or that, is what the team referred to championships as. So the idea was that they did not want to utter the word championship or pennant, those kinds of things. Like they didn't want to utter them out loud, like it was taboo. So the manager got to calling a championship or a pennant are, that, it. So we're going after it, but actually uttering the word championship was like taboo almost. Which for the Tigers, it's a little bit, they might be a little more sensitive to this because although they are a very beloved and sort of ravenously followed team, they are not a very successful team in terms of championships. So championships might be a little more special for the Tigers than they might be for the Yomiuri Giants or other teams that have a lot or have won very often recently, like the Hawks, for instance. So anyway, I really like the pun on the cover there. But I want to talk a little bit more about Okada. So this is actually Okada's second stint as Hanshin's manager. He, as is very typical here, was a star player for the Tigers in the 80's, mainly the 80's. So here, very often star players, beloved franchise icons get a chance to be the manager. And Okada's no exception. But this is actually his second stint as the manager. He had another short stint as the manager in the 2000s, and in fact, the Tigers' last Central League pennant before this one in 2005, incidentally, Okada was also the manager for that one. But this time around, and I'll just show this book. So this is a book written by Okada, presumably, or maybe dictated to a ghostwriter or something like that. I don't know. But this is basically a book about his philosophy on baseball and maybe life and things like that. It's common for baseball managers here and maybe coaches, other figures, to have books like this, kind of their book of wisdom sometimes more than one. Um, so this was actually given to me by a gentleman I know here who, while he's from Tokyo, he took a liking to Okada this year. So he got really into the Tigers. And I guess he got this book and read it, and then he gave it to me. So I might uh, look through it too if I don't read the entire thing. So as I was saying, so this is Okada's second stint as the Tigers manager, and he did win the Central League pennant in 2005 with the team before being swept in the Japan Series that year by the Chiba Marines. So this time at the beginning of this season when Okada was hired, it wasn't necessarily a universally sort of well-received thing. You know, a lot of people thought that it was a little bit of a lazy or uninspired hire for manager. Bring Okada back, right? But I guess, you know, they won the Central League pennant. Can't really argue with the results. So I just want to show you guys some playing days Okada cards from the 80's. These are all Kalbi. The chip cards. Now, you might know Kalbi cards from the 70s size, where they're a little smaller than a sort of typical baseball card by a little bit, right? But in the 80's, Kalbi actually made them much smaller. I actually like this little mini size. But as you can see, these are quite a bit smaller than the 70's cards and also the modern Kalbi cards. So this is from 82. Okada, when he was a player, he was the Tigers' second baseman for most of the 80's. He started in 1980, I think exactly, and he won Rookie of the Year that year. Okada is not a Hall of Fame level player. I would say that he is a sort of Hall of Very Good kind of player, and he was a very good player for a pretty long time, over a decade, but probably not quite Hall of Fame, at least in terms of playing. So I guess it's possible he could make the Japanese Hall of Fame based on his career as both a player and a manager, particularly if he does win a Japan Series this year, or even, you know, I don't know how long he's going to be the manager, but so anyway, these are 84s, and I really like these because they look like the 81 tops with the cap at the bottom there. And this is a really awesome card. Look at that. And then we've got, this one's cool because this is from 1985, which is the year the Tigers won their first and as of yet only Japan Series. And one from 1990, later in his career. And then I also have a 91 BBM, which is the first year of BBM, I think. Oof. Did they make BBM cards in 1990? Well, it's either the first or the second year. So a really nice card there, too. So the Tigers are awaiting the winner of a first playoff round. They will play in the Central League Championship Series. So they're awaiting whichever team will meet them. You know, hopefully they can go on and win the Japan Series. That would be pretty epic. You know, if you saw the scenes of like downtown Osaka, like when they clinched the Central League this year, it was like absolute bedlam. So I can't even imagine what it would be like if they win it all. If they win the Japan Series. So anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Peace.